Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to use Alolan Raticate in the Open Great League. It was a Pokemon that recently won a regional tournament. I'm using the return variant that we saw win that regional, a very spicy Pokemon, but also it kind of makes a lot of sense. It's decently bulky, has a lot of damage output with that return attack that we have here, and it also is kind of spammy as well. So very interesting Pokemon to see. It's going to have a lot less play once Annihilape comes back into the meta here in a couple of days, so I wanted to get my use out of it now that I can. If you want to see my battles live, I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN starting 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. I'd love to see you there. But let's see what the battles are going to look like with this Alolan Raticate and see what it can do in the Open Great League. Alright, heading right on into game number 1 here. Raticate in the lead up against a Malamar. You might expect this matchup to be very good for our Dark-type Pokemon being into a Psychic type. One thing we do have to keep in mind, though, is Malamar has access to a funny move known as Superpower. It would do so much damage. Fighting-type damage, as I was saying, is one of the worst things for Raticate to have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw that Crunch, and then I'm going to swap actually to Clodsire. You might be wondering, why would you come in with our Poison type into a Psychic type? That's mainly because I need to absorb that energy somewhere, right? I can't absorb it on Raticate, I can't absorb it there on our Feraligatr either, so I kind of have to come in with this matchup, and now we did also bait out a Dugong right now. This is not the best matchup, especially because I'm running the Sludge Bomb variant. I figured Sludge Bomb Clodsire would be a little bit better than Stone Edge because I wanted more coverage for Azumarill if we saw a lot of those. Not an Azumarill in this case, though Stone Edge would be so much better in this exact matchup, but we still get to 2 moves. It's going to chip them down quite a bit, and we can get a nice quick attack down here with our Raticate. You can see these quick attacks, even though it's not the best move in the game, it's still doing quite a bit of fast move pressure. We're also kind of bulky, right? This Icy Wind's not even going to do that much damage. They can't two-shot us here, but I'm going to store that energy, come in with Shadow Feraligatr, and see what we can do right now. In comes their final pick. That's not great. It's a Forretress using Volt Switch, a super effective fast attack against our Shadow Feraligatr here, but the best thing about this is it is non-stab. It's from a bulky Pokemon, and this is at most a Rock Tomb right now. If I can survive this attack, there might be a chance we can win this game by going for a Shadow Claw here, then throwing the Hydro Cannon, getting either a shield or knocking out this Forretress. If they shield this, then Raticate can just start spamming out charge moves. If they no shield, at this point, I think my win condition is pretty clear. I just have to keep tapping my screen, right? I can't throw any energy. If I do, I'm going to give them extra fast moves, so I just have to keep tapping here, hope for the best, hope that I can fast move this all the way down, fast move down their final Pokemon in the back as well, before they're able to get to 3 charge moves. The superpower is reached. They clear their defense drop by coming back in Dugong. The Dugong does not get to a move, but will this Malamar be able to get to back-to-back moves before I can quick attack them all the way down? They throw a move here. Are they going to be able to get a second move off before I fast move them down? It's going to come down to the wire here. Superpower does lower the defense, and that quick attack that I had at the last second knocks them out. GG's to our opponent. Very, very close start to the day. All right, next game against a Clodsire in the lead. A very neutral matchup. I'm actually a little bit surprised they swapped out so quickly. I would have to say that Clodsire is probably favored to win that just generally, but they must have some sort of hard ABB team. They're trying to bait out maybe a Poison type, maybe some sort of anti-flyer here. Not quite sure until we see the backline. They're obviously trying to bait something out. What's it going to be? I guess we'll just have to wait and see for their final Pokemon. But because we know it's a Clodsire in the lead, right, I'm kind of fine just swapping out of this matchup as soon as I can, right? I know they're going to come back in with that Clodsire into our Clodsire, so once I take out this Jumpluff, I'm not going to give them the ability to take out our Clodsire because I want to keep it around just in case it's like a double fairy lineup, and it turns out my Clodsire would be very useful in the backline. Second Sludge Bomb will come through. It'll knock them out. I'm going to swap out, as I've been saying, if that Clodsire does come in from our opponent, I don't want to stay in. I want to keep our Clodsire alive if possible. Swap to our Shadow Feraligatr. What is their final Pokemon going to be this game? We have the Hydro Cannon ready to go. Are they going to stay in? Are they going to catch a move on something in the backline? We'll just have to see what's going to happen here. They do stay in. They actually take a full-on Hydro Cannon. At this point, they're already in farm down range for our Shadow Gator. Unfortunately, we will have to throw another charge move before they're going to be able to get to 2 charge moves themselves, but they are running that interesting Stone Edge moveset, so they have the flyer coverage that we're missing on our Gator, but obviously a little bit slower to getting to charge moves, so it's a little bit less threatening, actually. Their final Pokemon, it is a double kind of Fairy team. They had a Fairy Wind, Jumpluff. They also have a Fairy-type Azumarill right now, so they were trying to bait something out here. Luckily, though, we still have our Clodsire around, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. Raticate is not really that bad of a matchup against Azumarill, especially if you get shields down. You survive a play rough, return does a massive amount of damage, and because I can chip this down with our Gator, I can likely draw both shields from them, chip them down into a range where we can fast move down this Azumarill, and that Clodsire also has been chipped down massively because we've saved so much advantage for our Shadow Feraligatr. They do reach a move here at the last second, though it is a little bit unfortunate, because now we won't get that final Hydro Cannon off, but they have to expend all of their energy to knock us out here. I'm going to overfarm a little bit. I threw on alignment. That was a bit of a bad play. I think I actually overtapped because of a frame drop there. At least that's what I'll say it happened. I shouldn't have thrown that. I should have thrown 1 turn sooner just to make sure they couldn't catch potentially, even if they did, though, right? That game has been so over for so long now. Raticate can easily close this out no matter what was going to happen there with any catch, anything that was going to happen. Raticate, it had it in the bag. All right, next game here against the Dunsparce in the lead. This is a fantastic matchup here, just because our backline doesn't want to see it, so we can neutral game the heck out of this Dunsparce, go for the returns, go for the quick attacks. You can see our fast moves are kind of doing similar amounts of damage, but since I have a stab charge move, return here, it's going to do so much more damage than anything they're going to throw. I actually like throwing the return here, even if they end up shielding this. I love getting the guaranteed damage or shield. One of the things that won this regional the last weekend from Tauntaun Patus is he always went for the nukes. He made sure shields went down, and then he swept with his Shadow Feraligatr or whatever his backline was. He just wanted to get the guarantees, make sure either heavy damage or early shields were invested from their opponent, and it looks like this game, we just ended up taking out one of the trickiest matchups for our whole team. But that said, this is a bit of a trickier matchup even still for us here. The Drapion up energy. I don't know how exactly we're going to take this out. I think the play, though, I like is come in with our Clodsire, drain all the energy that we can. They're going to throw 3 Aqua Tails if they want to knock us out here, and as long as I can make it so that we can get the shield advantage in favor of our Shadow Gator without giving them too much energy on Drapion, I should still be in a good position. I'm going to go for the bait here. The Sludge Bomb will likely draw a shield. If they no shield, that's very bad for us. Luckily, though, they don't risk it. They go for the shield because they know they can 2-shield through our Clodsire at that point, and now I'm going to have to start investing shields in our Shadow Feraligatr. This could be an Aqua Tail bait, but no, our opponent does just go straight for that crunch, and in comes their final Pokemon. It is going to be an Azumarill. Alright, well, this isn't looking amazing for us right now, especially because we're debuffed from that crunch I think that they threw, right? Our defense is lowered, which means a play ref would one-shot us. The way that I see myself winning this game, though, it's with careful energy management with our Shadow Feraligatr, making sure I can keep it alive, and making sure I have as much energy as possible to either have a Hydro Cannon that can knock out this Azumarill, or keep the Hydro Cannons for the backline, and maybe make a catch on our Clodsire. If we make a catch, we're in a very good spot. We don't make a catch here, that means that this is not going to be a play ref, it's going to be an Ice Beam. But if it knocks us out, I think we can win this game. They actually make an undercharge here. A fantastic play. If they could have got that full Poison Sting down, we would instantly lose this match. But since I reached this Earthquake, because I got that bait at the last second, we can reach that Earthquake there. They knew that they weren't going to be able to get to their moves against my Shadow Gator in time. I had a lot of energy loaded, and a very close endgame, just barely flipping that matchup. GG's to our opponent. Alright, a Mud Slapper in the lead this time. It is a Shadow Kanto Marowak against the Alolan Raticate. This is a bit of a neutral matchup here, but it is a Pokemon our entire team does kind of struggle to take out. If they want to 2-shield their way through this, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for me to knock them out. I'm going to try to go for the crunch. I want to make sure to get guaranteed damage or a shield from them just to make sure that I can get my 2 crunches off before they're going to do anything too silly. This next crunch will come through. No defense drop on that first one, unfortunately. If I can get the defense drop here, that could be very helpful. And we do get the defense drop, and we're going to swap in our Shadow Feraligatr because I can't give them the farm down against our Raticate. The Bone Club will be shielded. They won't get a second one before we can farm them down, so they are forced to swap out. Unfortunately for me, they are running the Toxapex, one of the few hard answers here to Shadow Feraligatr in the backline. This Pokemon not only can sponge all of the Shadow Claw damage, but these Hydro Cannons, they're resisted, right? They still do a decent chunk of damage, but because of how bulky this Toxapex is, it doesn't even matter. They're able to get a lot of Poison Jab damage, put us basically into Brine range at this point. They count perfectly there. They throw right before we get the Hydro Cannon. Even a Brine at this point probably knocks us out, but I can't give up my Shadow Feraligatr. I feel like I still need it around. We CMP on this next move. I'm kind of hoping that they end up shielding this move, but if they don't, I don't know how we can win this game necessarily. We needed to try to get shields down in the backline. It's going to be a Dugong, unfortunately, for our Clodsire, which is not running Stone Edge. We are in a very bad spot. Honestly, we just had almost nowhere to go here with our Clodsire this game. Losing switch advantage would always happen because that Shadow Marowak would 2-shield through the lead matchup if we don't swap out there. So it was going to be kind of a tough game to win either way. Also, was that a Lantern I just saw? And is this a Noctowl on my screen? A lot of crazy stuff happening right now. Gonna go for the crunch with our Raticate, try to chip them down a little bit, come in with our Clodsire. As long as we avoid that Lantern against our Shadow Feraligatr, we should be in a pretty good spot this game, but it will be a little bit uncomfortable if they are able to get it there, so I want to keep switch at all costs. I know that after getting that trip damage with our Raticate, they should be close to Sludge Bomb plus Poison Sting downrange, and these Sky Attacks, even though they did get a bit of a damage increase, are not going to be able to 2-shot us because Wing Attack is not doing much damage at all to our Clodsire. We're going to go for the Sludge Bomb here. It is going to be able to put them very low if they end up no-shielding, but we actually get a shield from them, which is actually kind of strange to me. I think I can get the second one off before they're even going to be able to get another Sky Attack, and if I can Poison Sting them down before they even reach a Nightshade, I guess is their cheaper move, then it's going to be such a good matchup for me, especially if they have to bring a Spark Lantern in. I was kind of wondering if it was a Water Gun Lantern when I saw it come back in, but no, that is Spark. What this means is this Earthquake will land. They're going to have to still throw a Surf against us if they want to knock us out. I got the Sludge Bomb. They did count pretty well there, though, so they know that I'm going to be able to throw this move if they didn't throw their move right now. I'll just let it go. This, at this point is basically in range where our Gator can take them out. And, oh my goodness, okay. So this trainer is just running triple classic Pokemon here. The Lantern, the Noctowl, and a Medicham. Very cool Pokemon. All three Pokemon I actually won the World Championships with. So, I mean, I respect these Pokemon so much. I mean, you can even see the Medicham behind me right now. My plush there. It is one of my favorite Pokemon in the game. Unfortunately, due to the fact that they keep on nerfing it, I don't know if it's ever going to be too viable again. They could give it some good moves, but here our Shadow Gator is just ripping through its health. It's going to get this Hydro Cannon off against the Medicham, and maybe even a Hydro Cannon off against the Lantern, taking out both of my favorite Pokemon that I was using at the World Championships a couple of years ago. Hydro Cannon will finally land against this Lantern and take the game in our favorite GG store opponent. Alright, Raticate in the lead, up against a Shadow Drapion. Okay, well, this matchup is a Pokemon that I don't really have a hard answer to it with our whole team, right? You might expect our ground type having Earthquake coverage would be fantastic against this Shadow Drapion, but you have to keep in mind we're doing no fast move pressure. They outpace us so heavily with Aqua Tails, so I kind of have to stay in here, especially because our Shadow Gator as well doesn't want to be down energy against a Drapion, so I'm going to stay in, spam out the crunches. We do get a shield there. They respect the fact that that could have been a return, and we actually get the defense drop against this as well. So even though that's a very tricky lead matchup, I think we're actually in a decent spot now. This crunch will be able to draw either the next shield here or put them into quick attack downrange. They do let this one go, and they get a second debuff. Actually, that's kind of funny. And we can shield, farm down, and get a crunch off against something in the backline. This is going to be an interesting game depending on what their final backline Pokemon are going to be. Shadow Drapion is a very flexible Pokemon, so it can pair with almost anything that you might want to pair it with. And in comes an Azumarill as one of their two backline Pokemon. They get two bubbles here, which means they will start outpacing me pretty quickly to moves. And their final Pokemon, a little bit of a slow swap by me here, is a Malamar, one of the Pokemon that actually I think could put in enough work against me right now to make it so we're in a little bit of trouble. I'm going to go for the Hydro Cannon. It does draw a shield, but because they have the energy lead from swapping it in before I could swap mine in, they're going to get these two moves first before I can get that second Hydro Cannon, and I think my Shadow Feraligatr is about to go down. This is so unfortunate because now my Clodsire is going to have to somehow take out this Malamar. I'm not quite sure how. They're going to get a lot of Psywave damage and a lot of Foul Play damage off against us. Luckily, they are attack debuffed here. I don't think I'd quite knock them out with that Sludge Wave up until this very moment. Maybe I should have thrown the one Poison Sting earlier and just hoped, but I'm pretty sure Malamar would have survived that. I'm not even sure this Sludge Bomb's enough to knock out from here. Let's see if it's going to be able to knock them out or if they survive on 1 HP. It does knock them out there. Okay, so maybe if I would have thrown a little bit earlier, it would have been better for us, because I think now that they got that Foul Play off, we're going to be in range where Ice Beam will knock us out. We might be able to get to 2 Sludge Bombs before they're able to bubble us down, but we'll have to see. We are 1 Poison Sting away. Are we within Ice Beam plus 1 bubble survive range? Ice Beam does come through. The next bubble likely knocks us out, losing with the move. We had the move at the very end, but they played that one very well. GG's to our opponent. All right, the Talonflame in the lead. This is actually a lead matchup I don't love to play out because I have my Shadow Gator, right? I'm assuming there's going to be grass types in the back, things that my water type Pokemon wouldn't want to see, but I'm just hoping right now that this is not a Brave Bird, because the way I want to play it out this matchup is I just want to guarantee a shield going for return or just guaranteeing a one-shot. I don't know what they could have in the back. There's a lot of different Pokemon that can pair with Talonflame, so they just let it go. Okay, that just one-shots the Talonflame. That's what you love to see here as the Raticate user, and they come in with an Azumarill. So here I'm thinking, if Ozzy was what comes in here and they stayed in that lead matchup, maybe there's a chance my Raticate has more play in the backline, and I'm thinking also that I might as well just swap here, right? Because Gator up energy, even like the worst matchups you might see, I could at least still chip down pretty easily, and then I would probably be in a good spot having my Clodsire up against that Azumarill later on. So I'm fine swapping out here to shielding my Shadow Gator. I know this is a strange play, but I love doing it because I think that at this point, this puts this Azumarill in such a tricky spot. Are they going to just let their Azumarill go, get farmed down with Shadow Claws, or are they going to swap out and probably take 2 Hydro Cannons against something that comes in here? In comes the Dunsparce, unfortunately a frame drop causing me to throw on a little bit of bad timing, but this Hydro Cannon will still be reached before this Dunsparce can reach any moves. I have a second one loaded as well, and we still have our Raticate. We still have to make them throw energy against us if they want to knock us out, and I'm pretty sure our Clodsire is sitting pretty in the back here to win this game. Despite the fact that they do have access to the Drill Run charge move, our Clodsire will survive 2 of them, and I take almost no fast move pressure here because Rollout is resisted by my ground typing, so I think as long as an Earthquake and a Sludge Bomb will be enough to knock them out, and I don't fall for any crazy catches by this trainer, I should be in a good spot to win this one. That Drill Run does not do anywhere near enough damage to be able to 2-shot us here. They try to make the catch, but I call it a mile away. We overfarm, we farm them all the way down. Now we have the Earthquake loaded, we are almost at the Sludge Bomb as well. We still have our Raticate alive if we need it for quick attack pressure and potentially potentially getting to a crunch later on too. And now we have the Sludge Bomb. I know I survived this drill run, so unless they're at back-to-back, which I also know is impossible, then we are going to be able to win this one. Sludge Bomb has been reached. If this Dunsparce survives, we just fast move them down. If it gets knocked out, then GG's to our opponent. Looks like they do survive on 1 HP, but not anywhere near enough to take the match there for themselves. GG's to our opponent. All right, next game. That is potentially one of the worst leads we could possibly see. A fighting-type Pokemon, but not only any fighting type. That is a Pangoro that also has a lot of play into our Shadow Feraligatr. But this is interesting. Their answer here to our Clodsire is going to be the Shadow Drapion. This might be one of my few ways I can win this game. Also, they crunched me here. Are they running Sludge Bomb on their Drapion? This is a very interesting twist of events here. There's a chance that I can flip this matchup potentially depending on what their backline Pokemon's going to be. I just need to get shield advantage for a Shadow Gator. Hope that I can use energy and shields on Gator to sweep this game. I think at this point that will be our only hope. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake now. I know that I need to guarantee either another shield here or just a straight up knockout against this. And they actually let it go. So we get switch and shield advantage with our Shadow Clodsire. But this Pangoro has a lot of energy. They swapped out after like 4 Karate Chops in the first place. They're getting a lot more now. So they're basically going to be at 100 energy here, a little bit less after throwing this Night Slash, but they still have so much energy despite going down shields already this game, and I don't have a hard answer to this Pokemon. I have to come in Shadow Gator, and I have to try my best to knock this out as quickly as possible. They catch on their Toxapex, but I think I see a way to win this game now, right? That Pangoro can never have 3 moves back to back to back, so all I need to do is rebank up my Hydro Cannon, swap out here to Raticate, and then use Raticate just as a way to sponge the damage here. Never use shield in this matchup, right? If I ever shield my Raticate, I'm in a pretty bad spot, because that gives a Pangoro a lot more wiggle room, but if I no-shield everything, put it all on my Shadow Gator, I think I can still win this matchup. Return won't one-shot this Toxapex from here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to do a sizable chunk of damage. I mean, for a neutral move there, that almost took them all the way out from halfway on their health bar. That is fantastic damage, and now a Sludge Wave will come through. It won't quite knock us out, but now in comes their Pangoro. We know that they can't have 3 moves, right? So it's just a guaranteed win at this point. We have the Hydro Cannon loaded. We can Hydro Cannon this Pangoro after shielding 2 Night Slashes, and then Shadow Claw down that Toxapex. So we kind of did get a little bit lucky this game that our opponent had no hard answer to the Clodsire, but that's kind of what you have to do around the Pangoro matchup. You have to just hard swap your good answer, hope you can get some sort of shield or energy advantage on your Feraligatr and use that as a sweeper, and it did work out for us that game. All right, next matchup, Raticate into Ariados. All right, well, this matchup you might expect to be a very bad matchup for Raticate, but it's only a pretty bad matchup. It's kind of playable, I guess. Our quick attacks are doing a bit of damage. We can survive a lunge. We can get to a return, so we probably either guarantee a shield or almost win the zero shield matchup, but it's still not a great matchup for us, right? It's still a bug type. They're debuffing our attack stat, and they are just so spammy here. If they want to start ramping up, that could be pretty bad for us. I'm going to try to catch a move on Clodsire. They don't quite throw when I thought they would, so this is probably a Trailblaze at this point, but I'm fine with them wasting energy here or staying in and making it so that they're not going to be able to use the most out of their boosts. In comes a Talonflame, very interesting Pokemon to respond to a Clodsire. If I have Stone Edge, they're going to have to respect this, or else they're just going to get one shot. Unfortunately, we are running Sludge Bomb, and unfortunately for me, they also call it, which is probably the worst case events that could have really happened there. And they're going to throw a move, hoping for not a Brave Bird, but if it is, I can just shield with my Feraligatr, fire them down with Shadow Claws, and hopefully have some play. But it is just a fly. We survive it, and now our Clodsire is still in range where we can probably reach a move against that Ariados before they farm us down. So they're going to be forced to throw energy if they want to knock us out. They do throw energy. They're at 100, though, so I can't really shield this, or else they just get 2 moves off back to back. And even though I have energy on my Raticate, I'm pretty low. I think I have to come in Shadow Gator here and just try to start throwing Hydro Cannons against whatever I can. I'm hoping right now it's maybe some sort of team double weak to water typing, which definitely could be the case, right? Use Ariados as your way to destroy the water types, and then use 2 things weak to water in the back once you bait it out with potentially like a Talonflame. So if that is the case, if it is another Pokemon weak to water, then keeping my shield and my advantage for my Shadow Feraligatr could be the play. Keep in mind also our Eradicate does have energy on it, right? We're so close to getting to a move on it. We probably are like 1 or 2 quick attacks away from a crunch if we don't already have it. Now, I think we are 1 away. So we should be in a spot where we can get to 2 charge moves this game against whatever's going to be in the back. That is a Carbink. No! Okay, well, okay, I can get this crunch off. If I can get a defense drop here and then get a second crunch, maybe that puts it into Hydro Cannon range. There's the defense drop. Can I get the second crunch off here? Please, Raticate. No, we get rock thrown down right at the last second. I did get the defense drop, though. Is this Shadow Feraligatr's Hydro Cannon going to be enough to knock out the Carbink? No, just barely not. If I got that crunch off, that would have been enough. Unfortunately, Carbink in the back, just a little bit too bulky here. If they didn't get to debuff our attack stat rather so much with that Ariados, that would have been a much better position, though. But GG's to them. All right, Azumarill in the lead. This is a very tricky matchup, but I'm going to safe swap our Shadow Feraligatr once again. This is one of our best safe swaps, just like in the Open Great League in general right now. I love swapping it in, making it so it's a lot more awkward for our opponent here to really deal with this Pokemon. Do they want to swap into something with almost 2 Hydro Cannons at this point, or are they going to desync the Switch Clocks and swap now? It is just such a tricky matchup now that I'm playing it out this way, where I let them throw first, and I just overfarm basically to 2 moves, always keep 2 moves loaded on our Shadow Gator to make it so I always have ways to threaten the backline. They do end up letting that one go once again here. I get to the 3rd Hydro Cannon before the 2nd Play Rough is reached, so they're going to have to make the decision. Are they going to shield now, or are they going to let their Azu go? They do end up shielding this time, so I'm going to match that shield. I'm going to go down 2 shields to 1 right now, but I think Shadow Gator is going to be strong enough to get shields back from this Pokemon. They do come in with Malamar here, a very scary Pokemon in general, but we can go for the Hydro Cannon, sponge this energy on our Clodsire once again, and hopefully still have a chance to win this matchup depending on what their final Pokemon might be. We still have a Raticate that hasn't really got much use this game. We still are also a little bit healthy on our Shadow Gator. We're 1 Shadow Claw up, so there's a chance we can outpace something and get to a Hydro Cannon there in the backline if we need to. But this Malamar is doing so much damage with these Psy Waves and these foul plays that we're almost in fast move farm down range. They can also swap to a Azumarill very soon here, so I don't think that I can get to a Sludge Bomb before they're going to be able to swap out. It's going to be awkward if they store a superpower. We're probably just going to lose this game. I don't know if they quite had it yet there. I do have to throw my energy, though, against this Azumarill. If I don't, then they're going to farm me down, and I want to see what their 3rd Pokemon is. I'd be surprised if they come back in with that Malamar, and no, there is the Forretress once again here. Alright, well, this is a very scary Pokemon to see. We have very low fast move pressure against this here with our Alolan Raticate, but we have Crunch. It's going to be able to start adding up. We get the defense drop, which is very helpful, because I think this is a Rock Tomb, which is going to lower our defense stat, or our attack stat. I keep mixing that up. It's the attack stat that gets lowered for our Raticate here, which means that even though we're in a decent spot, we're not in an amazing spot, right? We can go for the Crunch here. It still doesn't knock them out. They did bank that superpower, unfortunately for us, but I can see a way to win this game. It's likely going to involve a catch attempt. They are going to be not quite at the move yet on that Fortress. I can do 2 Shadow Claws, swap out, catch the Rock Tomb on our Clodsire, then come back in Gator, do 1 more Shadow Claw, get that Hydro Cannon off, and beat this Fortress, barely taking the game here in our favor. GG's to our opponent. Very, very close matchup. And I think we actually fought this trainer earlier today. They swapped up their alignment, their order of their team, but still able to win it here, just barely. All right, next matchup, Raticate in the lead up against, okay, another Pangoro. We're going to do it like we did the last time. We swapped to our Clodsire, hope for the best that their backline's not going to hard counter us, and fortunately for us, what responds to our Clodsire is not a Gastrodon, not a Marowak, just a Dunsparce, which is not the best matchup, but I mean, it's a matchup that potentially, if my opponent thinks that I have another hard answer to Pangoro in the back, they could shield their way through this and give me shield advantage, which, as I said earlier, is what we need to win this game, and there it is. We get the shield advantage against this Dunsparce. There is a solid chance that we can flip this matchup, well, not this specific matchup, right, but this game, as long as we invest in our Shadow Gator. We're going to go here for another Earthquake. This is going to do catastrophic damage, put them very low, basically into Quick Attack down range. That might be an ambitious Quick Attack down, actually. But I think that's what we're going to have to go for, right? Because my energy on my Raticate could still threaten that Pangoro. There's still a chance this game, and I know that my Raticate's health is basically meaningless, right? I'd get one shot by a close combat, and I don't want to give a huge farm down over to that Pangoro, so I will just commit to the Quick Attack down, have a return ready to go against that Pangoro, and for some reason they are staying in this matchup. They are giving me that full Quick Attack down for some reason, but I will take it. I kind of need it, and I'm hoping that their final Pokemon is not a hard answer to Shadow Gator. They've already shown 2 Pokemon pretty strong against it, right? They've had this Dunsparce and this Pangoro, so I'm hoping it's like a Talonflame in the back. Just give us a little bit of wiggle room this game, right? This return will come through. Will they shield it? They do shield it, so they're down 2 shields once again. This is, as I've said, the way that I can beat these Pangoros is getting shields down and trying to go for Hydro Cannons against this thing. I know that there might be a Pokemon in the back that we have play against. Hopefully there will be. We have to double shield here because they haven't swapped out yet. I'm thinking we're in a good spot. There is a good chance our Shadow Gator is about to sweep. Make sure to throw right before they're getting to their next move. And if this knocks out, which I'm pretty sure it will, we'll have a full-on Hydro Cannon loaded. We'll have a lot of health left over on this Gator as well. And we are so close to a crunch on that Raticate. That's another Lantern, dude. What's up with these Lanterns? Okay, this is not looking good anymore. I think that we might lose this game. We have back-to-back Hydro Cannons, but if we can't get to this crunch, which they let us get to, we can actually potentially have a chance still. This crunch is going to put them into Hydro Cannon range. There is a chance this Hydro could knock out. Is this enough? They CMP'd us on this move here. Come on, Shadow Gator, take out the Lantern. Just barely winning that match. GG's to our opponent. It's about as close of an endgame as it gets there. Shadow Gator really showing why it's such a strong pick, and Alolan Raticate showing what it does best, right? Sponge energy, throw the return, get guaranteed shields. That's what makes this team work, and that's what makes Alolan Raticate so fun. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see these kind of battles live, please make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more content like this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Alright, well, thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.